by Great White Hot Sauce. It's a small batch, handmade hot sauce made especially for you. You can find it at www.trygreatwhite.com. It's also sponsored by South Florida Allied Health, located in Boca Raton, Florida, specializing in men's health, women's health, medical weight loss, IV therapy infusion, testosterone therapy, and hormone replacement therapy. Florida residents only. Well, here we are, episode 91. And on this episode, keeping with the every other week on and off trend, no Jack. But that's okay. Because you know, I have the two best utility men in the game, and one of them is going to be filling in for him. Luke Kalicki of the Music Relish podcast. Mark Smith is busy. We're going to talk about 50 final live performances. I have a list, and I'm sure Lou will have some very interesting input. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the podcast.
Five, four, three, two, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
The KOFB Studio presents MilkCrates and Turntables, a music discussion podcast hosted by Scott McLean. Now, let's talk music. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the podcast. You know the name, I'm not going to say it. We're streaming live right now over YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, D-Live, and I don't know, some other live stream places. We stream every Wednesday night at about 7:45 in the evening. We do that. People are like, why 7:45? Well, 7:45 gives us an extra 15 minutes. That was built around Jack, but Jack's not here tonight. As usual, every other week, Jack will call him. Every other week. Hold on, I'm checking something right here. I'm going to try to, it's live, so, people listening in the podcast world, I'm checking something out. Technical. Let's see. All right, either way. Yeah, so here we are. Another week, episode 91. Oh, and I forgot to say, I don't think I said it. Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction. Or did I say it? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm saying right now. But yeah, again, Jack's not here this week. I don't know. Whatever. At this point, I don't know. I'm not going to comment. Either way. But like I said, I have two of the best utility men in the business, in the music podcast business. But one of them's busy tonight. Mark Smith is busy. He has a class that he has to take. Fucking class. He's taking a class over coming on this spectacle of a podcast. You kidding me? Now I know where his loyalties lie. You know who's here? Luke Kalicki of the Music Relish podcast.
I'll never let you down.
That's right, buddy. Well,
I have no class to take classes.
Even if you don't have a video, you still showed up last week halfway through the show. Or was it the week before? I don't even know at this point.
It was the week before.
It was the week before.
Tragedy.
So how you been, man?
I'm doing great. How about you?
Good. How's things in Asheville, South Carolina?
Warm. Man, it's like 70-something degrees today. It was absolutely beautiful.
There you go.
Yeah. It's been the warmest winter that I remember being here since 2006. But some people say that might be the warning to the famous early spring, late winter blizzards we sometimes get here. I say, bullshit.
Yeah.
I'm not buying into it. Ain't gonna happen. Gonna will it to not happen. We don't need
That's
that.
right, buddy. That's right.
Live in a high school gymnasium for 3 weeks with no electricity.
What?
In '93, there was this catastrophic. It was a double hit blizzard with ice and everything, and it screwed everything up here. But I knew people that said they lived in the local high school gym for like 3 weeks.
Oh, good Lord. Yeah, that can't be good.
Where's the FEMA trailers? Come on, let's go.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Yeah, so I have this list that I want to get to. It's from 2019, so a few things have changed. But not for the most part. A lot of them stay the same, and it's the 50 final live performances. And I think some of these things might surprise you. But before we get to that, I have some I have a couple articles we can kind of touch on for a minute.
Sure.
Depeche Mode is going out on tour, their fall 2023 North American tour, but they're going out without Andy Fletcher. Do you know, are you familiar with Depeche Mode? And,
he was the keyboard player, correct?
Yeah. So Andy Fletcher was just that guy. He was always just in the background, tall guy, just kind of did the keyboard thing like these guys do, like Vince Clarke did. And but he was always like part of the feel of the show. Right. You know, you can't ignore him. He was a constant, like, because they were the band. There was 3 of them, right? And without him, now it's not like ZZ Top losing Dusty Hill.
Yeah,
in my book, because he also sang some of the songs too.
Sure.
But Andy Fletcher,
he sang Kush.
Yeah, and that bass, although his guitar tech filled in for him, and I'm sure he's doing a more than an adequate job.
Sure.
Kind of like what you do when you fill in for Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at that. See.
I always try to be more than adequate, you know.
I don't know. I don't know if they're coming to Miami, but seeing fucking concerts in Miami it's really a turnoff sometimes.
Really?
Just the traffic and
just getting in there, yeah.
It's getting out, actually. It's last time I went down there, I saw Gorillaz with my son, and it was getting out. It took us literally 45 minutes. They have these roads are blocked off, this street's blocked off. So they just kind of send you through this maze, and you can't get out of it once you're in it. And I'm like, it's not even worth it. It's really not worth it.
I've driven to Miami once, like 98, 97, and I thought it was hell then.
It was actually, it wasn't bad back then. I mean, it's worse now. It's worse now because it's more built up since back then. And I used to take friends. They'd come to visit, and we'd go down to South Beach. But South Beach has gone to the shits too.
Really?
So, yeah. Really, no need to go down there anymore. But yeah, they're going out on tour without Andy Fletcher. They basically said it's not going to be the same, but Andy would want it that way. And isn't that what every band says? You know?
Yeah. Do you think that was he that? I've never seen them live. Was he that integral part of the live show where, I'm sure diehard fans will. No, he's not there, but anyway, you know what I mean? Was he integral to the visual aspect?
His presence was
That's
there.
What I mean. Like
Dave Gahan is a one-man show. Dave Gahan is one of the greatest front men you'll ever see. The guy does not stop, literally from start to finish. I don't think there's one song that he might sing standing still. He just doesn't. He is the quintessential front man.
He's a show.
But you get used to seeing, and like you said, no. If you're not a diehard fan, you might not notice. You wouldn't notice Andy Fletcher's not there, But I think I would, and I've seen them 6 times. I think so. I'll take a pass on this one, and maybe that might be it. You know what I mean? I don't know. We'll see about that, but
I know what you mean. That there are certain bands though, when they lose a certain person, might mean something to you, as a long time fan,
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I always use Alice in Chains as a good example.
Right.
Yeah, I made the the mistake of seeing them when I knew I shouldn't have, but they were backing up Korn, and we got there early. Let's go watch. And it was exactly what I thought it was going to be. Shit. It's total shit.
Is it a sound alike thing? I've not.
No. The guy, the lead singer, the dude they hired, he can't carry Lane Staley's beer. It's like the guy just can't like nutshell. Can't do it. These are songs that people are expecting to hear. Rooster, he just can't pull it off. He doesn't have those songs. For the most part, they're very haunting songs, right? So that Lane Staley's kind of nasally tone really added to the creepiness of the song. It gives you like that.
Sure.
Puts you in. It puts you in it. It puts you in the song, right?
Yeah. His voice is so idiosyncratic to the music, though. That's one thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like, otherwise, if you get someone who's doing an impersonation, you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's some other dude getting up there and singing.
And that's all it is. It's some other guy getting up singing it in his voice. And it's not one of those songs. I just got done. I was with my wife before the show, and we were talking, and I pull up this video of this girl, young girl, pretty young thing. She's doing it's a reaction video, and it was on Facebook, and she's doing Fleetwood Mac's what is it? So here we go again. Why can't I think of the name of that song?
Visions?
Visions, yeah. She's doing Visions.
Magic Crystals.
What's that?
That was a Stevie Nicks title.
Oh.
Something.
And the girl does a fucking unbelievable job, like a really amazing cover of it, right? But I told my wife, this is one of those songs that doesn't matter how good you do it. You can never, nobody can ever re-release that song and cover it like Taylor Swift she'll take somebody's song and redo it and it'll become a hit. You know, you've seen it a million times in music, right? It's like Reborn Again. That song, any one of those Fleetwood Mac songs cannot be copied. Like they can't be redone.
I don't know if I've ever heard
re-released. Huh?
I don't know if I've ever heard any of those songs being, because
you can't. Those are an entirely different level of song.
Yeah,
that you'd be insulting it if you tried to.
I think a producer would say, like, "Why are you doing that? Do something else." Yeah, we're not. I'm not signing on to that. Yeah,
and then I started thinking, I'm like, why? You know what music is out there today that will have that effect, that Fleetwood Mac sound, and I'll just use that as an example.
Right.
50 years later, like fucking Lizzo, you know what I mean? Like, is she gonna have some depth to her music where it's gonna be like you still hear it and it's amazingly beautiful and deep and intricate in its music and its sound and its production? There's nothing, I don't think, out there today. I think Norah Jones is one of those girls. Her music will carry over, you know?
Well, I think her stuff sounds, I mean, what I've heard, recorded more traditionally. A lot of the stuff, I'm hearing a lot of modern music. There might be some good stuff, but it's the recordings to me. Everything sounds like it was done at home, which is, I understand it. That's what everyone does now. But to me, it sounds like it. It sounds like everything was recorded at home. And, I mean, I know people are still using, the traditional rooms, Gold Star, whatever, the things out in California, I mean, but I recorded home, but to me, for the most part, it sounds like I'm recording at home. But my goals are such that at this point, it's just to do it, record it. But, if you're the music I hear on the radio, it has the same compression levels. It's very, but I said, I don't think there'll be an oldies channel for this. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like all these channels are now, Asheville has an oldies channel and it's playing the same stuff I heard in the 70s on CBS 101 out of New York. It's Sea Cruise by, it's the same stuff, and a lot of it's great, but that classic period. I mean, early 70s, it seems where it's going to. Then there's like yacht rock, but like I said, I don't know if there's a shelf life there.
The 50s didn't have a shelf life. They did for a little while, then it kind of expired. You don't really hear any 50s references, any 50s stations or oldies. You can get it on Sirius satellite, but
there's a 50s channel. Well, I mean, there's Asheville Station, for instance. They play some they play a fair amount of stuff from the 50s, like, but a lot of it's, rock and roll was that, and there was all they play more of the schmaltzy stuff,
But what's the
Steve Lawrence?
Yeah, what's the demographic too, right? So okay, we're at the peak of the baby boomer, or we're on the tail end of it, right?
Tail end.
So after that, there'll always be a small following for these things. There's always a kid that picks up and goes, I like this music,
Yeah, well, yeah, it's going to carry on,
but it won't have the staying power, I guess I'll say.
Right.
70s. Now the 70s was. Jack and I had this discussion. And I think we're in agreement, and maybe you will be too. Is arguably the best decade of music ever.
I'm a big 60s fan,
right?
But I mean, I'm trying to you try to weed through the good and the bad of every decade. Early 60s had a lot of shit, which paved the way for the Beatles. And the 70s had their share of it too, but hard, like rock. I think a lot of the stuff in the 70s might be longer lasting, actually. But once some of these bands got their start in the 60s, but the early, the Who 70s records, the Stones, that whole period, that seems to be more longer lasting than the earlier period.
So tell me, the reason I say the 70s,
creatively, the 60s might have been more of a kaboom, because rock graduated from the 50s to that one form into the psychedelia and all the other,
So how many different incarnations of music were created or developed in the 60s? So you had bebop kind of rocked over from the 50s to the early 60s, right? You had rock, you had early rock, right?
Early rock.
You had, the Beatles and the British invasion.
A lot of instrumental groups. I mean, all that stuff.
Yeah, you had folk music.
Folk music, folk rock.
Right. Folk rock. But if you look at how psychedelia in the tail end of the 60s, but then in the 70s, you just had this, it just kind of erupted. So you could say the 60s was, the volcano was kind of active. You knew it was active, right? The 70s, it fucking exploded because you broke out with rock. Then you had glam rock, and you had disco, and you had what else was it? Punk rock. You had New Wave. The beginning of New Wave was in the 70s, the late 70s. You had so many different varieties of music.
I think also maybe the 70s got to distill all that stuff. The 60s had to deal with a lot of the early 70s, the 50s stuff rather, and even the 40s. So, rock was still a baby in the early 60s. It was not a baby in the 70s in that sense.
Right, and that's why I'd say the 70s is the best decade of music because everything had matured. And it continued to grow, right?
I think the volcano exploded in the 60s and then trickled over the land in the 70s.
All right, I mean,
but I'm kind of torn on that.
I can't argue with you.
There's a lot of the 70s I don't like.
I'm sorry. I have a hard time arguing with you like I do with Jack. I can't tell you to shut the fuck up.
Go ahead. Sure,
no,
you can.
I can't. You're too nice. I can't. You give me no reason.
I'm a guest. I'm a guest.
You give me.
I get nasty with you.
No, you're not a guest. Listen, you've been on enough. You're not a guest at this point.
Oh, well, thanks.
You've been on enough.
I came out of the utility closet to come play today.
So you were saying, so you think it kind of spewed over into the 70s, right?
Yeah, maybe that's my interpretation, but
all right.
I do have a real fondness for the Beatles. Were over in 1969, but there was other great stuff though. But even the creative stuff, they were both fertile times. I think they managed, maybe in the 70s managed to distill it better and kind of, it was growing. It grew into a young adult in the 70s.
I think what helped the 70s also was the birth of the teen idol magazines. Like the media grabbed hold of it.
Tiger Beat,
and whatever other magazines were out there, and that became a big deal, right? And then you have TV shows. You had TV shows, the Monkees, the Partridge Family. I mean, the Jackson 5 cartoons and the Osmond Brothers, and so they kind of really grew it like that, right? And I think maybe that's why it seems so much more vivid in my mind than the 60s. I grew up, I never really liked 60s music.
Mm-hmm. I've heard
And
you
what-
say that before.
Yeah,
I mean,
and what
we were we were little kids. I mean, we
Yeah.
weren't, you know what I mean? We were, I mean, I'm, you know, up until the 70s, you know, we were children. So
Yeah.
that's the thing too, you know, we coming of age as well.
the thing that got me liking it was in my my later years. I'm 59 now, so probably about, I'll even say like 15 years ago, right? Was, of all fucking things, those Time Life infomercials.
Yeah.
I became infatuated with those things. And I would watch every one that came on that had to do with the 60s, or, you know, they all had these
the mamas and the
right?
papas are up there.
Oh,
and
I'm like, wow, you know what? That is a good song. That is a good song. Wow, that is a good. And I really started respecting it, which, as we always say, that's the beauty of music.
Yeah.
You can always go back to it
or discover something maybe you didn't
and
like
appreciate it.
before. Yeah.
Yeah, even though you didn't before.
Yeah.
You can, if you let yourself, you know, grow out of being
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what music lovers do for the most part.
Yeah.
And sometimes they grow out of something. You know, you kind of look back and you're like, you know, the 70s had a lot of camp in it too. You know, a lot of campiness.
Yeah.
But that was the thing. That was the fucking, those ballads, those, you know, Billy Don't Be a Hero and fucking Convoy. And That's the Night the Lights Went Out in Georgia. I mean, fucking the Poseidon Adventure, The Morning After. I mean,
yeah.
The list goes on.
A lot of the songs are really maudlin. They're sentimental, but they're kind of there's a depressing element to them.
The horse fucking
Shannon.
runs into the
Shannon?
fucking. Oh, Shannon's the dog that drowned out at sea.
Wildfire.
Fucking the horse that fucking runs into the wildfire. Fucking
Wildfire.
the fucking chick chases the horse. She dies. The horse dies. Nothing good comes out of that fucking song. Why do people listen to it? It's fucking. You know how it's gonna end.
Yeah. Well, yeah,
It's not good.
They said that when Fleetwood Mac were making Rumors, and they were talking about this mid-70s slump too, where rock got very comfortable. The whole the Laurel Canyon scene, all the cocaine, all this ennui set in, this malaise set in, and that was helped punk come around too. So as much as there was that big peak and there was that mid period too,
Yeah.
But I thought there was some nice mid period stuff in there too. But then rock came in and disco.
Yeah. Yeah.
Remember
Which I
Disco
liked.
Sucks?
I liked disco. I liked it all.
I liked it in spite of myself because I didn't think I was supposed to, because I thought the drumming was just like it was. It
was all rhythmic. It was just a rhythmic beat.
Yeah. Then you hear those bass lines, you're like, oh shit. But tapping your feet and.
But I've always said,
good stuff.
Fucking disco is absolutely, hands down, some of the best and most well-produced music ever made.
Some serious producers, Giorgio Moroder, right?
Yeah.
This guy was Mr. Disco.
Are you hearing the echo?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I was before, but I just ignored it and it went away.
Kind of like you do to Mark Smith sometimes. Except he doesn't go away, right?
He doesn't. No, he's still there. He's still
there.
Hope you're enjoying your class, Mark. You can watch this later.
Yeah. Speaking of Mark Smith, he's a big Yes fan, right?
Oh yeah. Yes,
yeah. So Yes names Jay Shellen as their permanent drummer now.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which really means something to the 3,000 Yes fans that are left on this planet.
You think there's that few?
Well, look I saw them about 5 months ago, and like I had said, it was an entertaining show, but the most entertaining part was I'm 59 and I was probably one of the youngest people in there, number one, and number two, they are some fucking hardcore fans, man. They were out of their seats and they were pumping their arms and heads were bopping, and they are some hardcore fans. I will give them that.
I wonder if they went through the years with 90125, that, which I thought the album came out later in the 80s. That was like 81, 82, I think, wasn't it? Their big comeback album.
Yeah. Is that the one with Owner of Alona Heart?
Yeah.
Heart and yeah. That was that was their shot at the 80s, It was at
worked.
the beginning of the 80s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a big hit.
And now the guy playing bass with Yes now, he's pretty well known. A friend of mine has actually done some recording with him, but I don't know his name. But I hear he's pretty good. I mean, he's excellent, I would think.
He was good. Yeah, I actually noticed him. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's very good bass player.
Well, was John Anderson, is Steve Howe in the band, or is it Trevor Rabin?
I'm not even sure.
Yeah,
I'm not even sure. I just saw them 5 months ago, so whoever that lineup is, I know the guitar player. What's his name?
Steve Howe.
Steve Howe. Yeah.
Okay.
He was.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, that guy
has some original members.
He was ornery though. He's on stage. He's like, I'm 76. I don't give a fuck at this point, right? He's on stage, and something wasn't going right, and he started like a fucking conductor. He started pointing at like the engineer guy and waving his hand and fucking yelling at him while he's playing, like right during the show. I was like, this dude just don't fucking care anymore. He wants good sound.
Yeah,
doesn't care like if he's yelling at people and doesn't care if the crowd is there.
He's been doing it forever, right?
I guess. Yeah.
You're worthy of it. Just
you can see how he's slowed down a bit, but his hands, I mean, you play like that, very intricate chords. And tough guitar playing in that music that they do, that prog rock. And his fingers have to be all fucked up.
Yeah, but prog, it's all about virtuosity, really, instrumental virtuosity. Otherwise, what is it then? And crazy ass time signatures.
Yeah. So how come you never see anyone like him named in greatest guitarists? Because if you listen to his work, you do.
I used to see Steve Howe, but I haven't followed many of the list. But I think he's someone that people don't really, it's just the same 5-7 guys,
In the top 10, there always is, but and then I guess it depends on lists. Who does the list? Like, Jack and I went over it last week. There was 2 lists actually. I had misspoken. I looked at one list and I thought it was another year, but in the end, one was done by a writer and the other one was done by they sent out to like X amount of artists and tell us who your best guitarist is, and then they compiled the votes and came up with the list. And it was interesting. There was some people that were on it that weren't on the other list and the other guys' list. You really got a good look at how personal taste should never really play into. If you're going to put a list out, say this is my list. Like this guy's a Rolling Stones writer, a Rolling Stone writer, right?
Okay, was that David Frick?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so people, and I had this argument with Jack. I said, people think, well, this guy is like writes for Rolling Stone. He's got to be a critic, an expert. He's got to be, and then he leaves off like Johnny Marr and all these other, that it's just, is ridiculously good. And he was on the other list of compiled artists that, of course, Johnny Marr has to be on there. He's not in the top 10, but he was in the top 50, which in the big picture is still amazing.
I watched that part of your show, and some of the names that were called out, I'm like, I don't think, Peter Buck from R.E.M. is not the 35th, whatever, best guitar player in the world,
Right.
He would look at that and be like, you gotta be kidding me. I'm not gonna take a trophy for that. But some of the, like I said, there's a lot of personal picks in there, but you separate yourself from your own taste. Sure, like there are people that will belong in there that you may not listen to, but just because you know who they are, and their importance, I don't know. I don't know Chet Atkins so much, but I think he loved, as far as being an innovator and,
Like I said last week, Roy Clark. Have you ever seen that guy play guitar?
On The Odd Couple.
Oh my God. How is that guy not in one of the great, in any lists of greatest guitar players? Guy was fucking amazing because he was on Hee Haw. So what?
I loved Hee Haw.
Everybody did. Everybody did. That was like the OG of the country channel, the country western channel. Like the Hee Haw was the original. Like there was never a show like that before.
That went back to the 60s too. Buck Owens. Buck Owens very influential.
Buck Owens, absolutely.
And the Buckaroos,
yeah. So Roy Clark not on those lists.
You can't forget Barbie Benton.
Oh well, she was technically the star of the show to every boy that watched it. That's for damn sure.
She was in Playboy very early too.
She certainly was. Yes, she was. Yep.
I love that show.
So actually, Mark Smith is contributing to the show tonight. He sent me this article today.
Cool.
It's basically says Bruce Springsteen tickets plummet to $6 days ahead of the concert. And this was an article from yesterday. So it says headlines about outrageously priced concert tickets have dominated the music news cycle as of late. And Jack and I have had numerous discussions about it. From the Taylor Swift fiasco to $5,000 Bruce Springsteen tickets, this trend has justifiably led to a number of government actions, including a DOJ antitrust, blah, 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 against Ticketmaster, Live Nation, and they do have a monopoly on this. But it's also left fans wondering if they should shell out exorbitant sums to see their favorite artists perform or wait to see if prices go down closer to the day of the show. If the price of Bruce Springsteen tickets is any indication, it may pay to wait. Tickets to the Boss's February 21st concert in Tulsa, Oklahoma have plummeted to less than $10, including fees, in the days before the show. What's that?
Including fees.
Yeah. Springsteen and Ticketmaster were criticized after tickets for his current tour reached over $5,000 due to Ticketmaster's dynamic pricing system, which adjusts costs of so-called platinum tickets based on demand, often resulting in extremely high prices during high demand on sales. So it goes into some, politician and the Springsteen fanzine Backstreets went out of business because of it. So less than a week before an upcoming show, it was 43 years in publication, and because of this tour and the prices of the tickets, nobody that followed this thing for 43 years, none of these fans, most of them are like, I'm not paying that, so they're kind of bailing on it.
Right.
And the guy's like, I don't have any contributors. I'm assuming this is how it goes. A fanzine is by the fans, right? Their input has a lot to do with it. And so the guy just basically said, I got to stop. I got to stop doing it. This shit's out of control. It's not, so it says less than a week before an upcoming show.
A backlash of sorts.
Yeah. I don't think Springsteen gives a shit though. Like he said in this fucking arrogant way. Everyone thinks he's such a fucking, it's Bruce. He's like, well, if they don't like the show, they can ask for their money back on the way out. That was a quote by him.
Really?
Like, who the fuck are you going to go get your money? Like, Bruce, really? Are you like fucking President Biden using a fucking going shopping at a grocery store? Oh, that scans? What does that thing do? What's a barcode? Oh, that's amazing technology. Or fucking Kamala Harris saying, your car can charge a phone. Your electric car can charge your phone. Anyways.
That doesn't sound like something Springsteen would say, though.
He did say it in an interview.
I'm not saying he did, but that doesn't sound like him traditionally, unless...
Well, I think he's like, well,
you can't get your money back at a box office.
But that's what he said. The gist of the conversation or the article in that was they were talking to him, but he says, listen, my whole career, we've tried to do this and we tried to do that to keep the ticket price down. And then pretty much this tour, I just sent my guys out and said, what's everybody else doing? Let's do that. No, it's not that fucking easy. You know what's going on, and that's why the prices went up. And he's like, well, if they pay it, and if they don't like the show, then, they can ask for their money on the way out. And that was his quote in the article. I was like, what an asshole.
And that's the one that Mark sent you?
No, Mark sent this one. It says, less than a week before an upcoming show in Tulsa, Oklahoma, however, Bruce Springsteen tickets have dropped from $1,000 to under $10 on the resale market. Tickets sold through Ticketmaster, which... remember, had reached $5,000 based on demand, have bottomed out at around $70 with fees. And they only remain that high due to a resale price floor implemented by Ticketmaster, which limits how low prices can get. See that?
Yeah, right.
Sites without imposed minimums, such as StubHub, had tickets available for about $7 with fees at publication time. Similar resale price floors were once implemented by the NFL in its official ticket marketplace, which is powered by Ticketmaster, but were ultimately abandoned after scrutiny from multiple attorney generals. So it looks like what we were saying, just don't go to the show.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what happens. Scalpers, they'll buy the ticket low, and if they can't sell it by the end of the night, they're going to sell it for lower than what they bought it for just to get something back.
Yeah.
You know? And that's what happens here. So who knows? Maybe people will catch on to this and it will kind of fuck up that algorithm. And, you know, I'll buy my tickets. Like Mark said he sent the text, he said, let's start looking for concert tickets. Right.
Yeah. Right.
And just wait and see where they come up.
That's a little street level rebellion too. You know, the fact that, you know, you're kind of knocking them off their perch like that. And I guess they don't care, you know, and just knowing that, I think Taylor Swift seems to care, you know?
Yeah.
But
yeah. Let me see. What else do I have here? See, Roger Waters defends David Gilmour. This is kind of interesting. Then we'll get to the list.
I read that. I read that one.
Yeah.
You know.
So what was it? Somebody said, so earlier this month,
his wife.
No, that was so earlier this month, Roger Waters and David Gilmour were at each other's throats again after Gilmour co-signed some scathing remarks his wife made about this former Pink Floyd bandmate, calling him anti-Semitic to your rotten core, as well as a Putin apologist and a lying, thieving, hypocritical, tax-avoiding, lip-syncing, misogynistic, sick with envy, megalomaniac. Despite the harsh words, Waters decided to defend Gilmour after a piece in the New Statesman reported that Waters planned to remove Gilmour's horrible guitar solos while re-recording The Dark Side of the Moon. Rogers took to Twitter to share that the quote was untrue and praised Gilmour's abilities. Quote, I don't know who he thinks he's quoting when he says Gilmour's horrible guitar solos, but it sure as shit ain't me, Rogers wrote, referring to the article's author. I was there. I love Dave's guitar solos in Dark Side of the Moon, both of them, and on I don't know what that in Animals.
Yeah,
and on the wall. And on the final cut. In my albeit biased view, Dave's solos on those albums constitute a collection of some of the very best guitar solos in the history of rock and roll. As for the comments made by Gilmour's wife, someone from Waters' camp addressed her claims, calling them incendiary, wildly inaccurate, incendiary and wildly inaccurate. So, but he'll defend his. How can somebody actually say that Waters would call Gilmour's solos garbage? Yeah. What?
I know. It's just this is something's being fed here. Do they have something coming up? They're not touring, are they?
No, but they're releasing another 50 years 50-year anniversary of Dark Side of the Moon, and they're doing a whole
is he re-recording the album?
Don't they always don't they're not re-recording? I don't know. What are they doing in the studio? They always say like, oh, it's high def now, and then it's
remastered. Maybe
remastered. The remastered is being remastered again. Right. So, like, how many different ways can you listen to the fucking same album? Just give me the original.
I mentioned last time, I think America re-recorded their greatest hits album with all new musicians, and they sang well, but the music sucked. It was just generic, you know. But like they had to do it for money for streaming, or they must not be getting money from something else in order to re-record that. For why? I mean, they know it was inferior. But I mean,
so
Dark Side of the Moon. I mean, I listen to those old Pink Floyd records. I'm not that much of an audiophile where I don't know if I need everything redone. Not everything's with headphones with me, but
right. But I had said, and I had heard that a lot of bands re-record their music because they don't own it. So that's why I would listen to, like, I'd be in my pool and I always have the music on and rather loud, but the neighbors seem to like my playlists. So so I'm good with that. And you'll hear a version of, say, like a Squeeze song, say like Up the Junction, right? Which I've heard it a thousand times. Squeeze's Greatest Hits is one of the best Greatest Hits albums ever. If you've never listened to it, you have to. It's one of the greatest hits albums ever. And you'll note it, like you like that was kind of off. That tone was off, or the voice just didn't hit that point in the song, and you realize this is a re-recorded song. And I think Squeeze did that. They re-recorded all their songs, so they could get their rights back. I don't know how that works. I'm not big on the legal aspects of it, but that's what was sold to like Spotify,
right?
You know,
well, Peter Frampton did the same thing because he re-recorded some stuff, and he goes, I got about $1,000 for Baby I Love Your Way, and that was it. You know, and that was a smash. But so I could see why they do it, but it's unfortunate when it doesn't quite have this. It's not going to have the same magic. You know.
Yeah, if it's on my playlist and I accidentally downloaded that version, I usually delete that version. They got their money. I downloaded it. Yeah. They got their money.
Did they do Tempted? Because neither Difford or Tilburg sang that. It was Paul Carrack.
Right, that was Paul Carrack. Yeah.
Which I think that's their biggest hit. I think.
I believe it is.
Yeah,
it is. That was a big 80s hit. That was already like 83, 82, 83.
82, 83, yeah.
Yeah, that's funny how the one song that guy sings is their biggest hit, right?
There's a great documentary on him called I think it's The Man with the Golden Voice or something. It's done by BBC. Okay. And it's, he's the guy that's saying How Long with Ace.
Right.
That's him, and
How long has this been going? Yeah.
Great song. Mike and the Mechanics.
Okay.
Solo stuff. But he plays with Clapton. He's a journeyman, but he's been all over his voice has been all over the radio in different ways, and a lot of hits.
Right. Right. So there's that, but I wanted to get to this one before we get to things. So I saw this today, and I might get tickets to this. They go on sale in a couple days. Bauhaus's Peter Murphy to lead David Bowie tribute tour alongside guitarist Adrian Belew.
Wow.
The traveling show will also feature guitarist Space Hogs Royston Langdon, guitarist Scrody, and A Perfect Circle's Matt McJunkin and Jeff Friedel. That's bass and drum. They said the Bauhaus reunion tour may have imploded in 2022 after a mere 13 shows, but frontman Peter Murphy will be back on the road in April to front the Celebrating David Bowie tour alongside guitarist Adrian Belew, Space Hogs Royston Langdon, Perfect Circle bassist Matt McJunkins, guitarist Scrody, and Devo and A Perfect Circle drummer Jeff Friedel, saxophonist Rob DeZubla, and guitarist Eric Schermerhorn. Kicks off April 4th in Houston, wraps up May 8th in Tacoma. Sounds pretty interesting.
It does. It really does. Adrian Belew alone. I haven't heard the name Space Hog in a while. I remember that.
Yeah, the lead singer from Space Hog was actually married to Liv Taylor for a while. They at least dated for a long time.
Really? Cool.
Yeah. The 2022 incarnation of this tour was fronted by Todd Rundgren. According to a press release, this year's show will interpret Bowie's greatest hits with a special emphasis on Bowie's Ziggy Stardust proto-punk era, his Berlin trilogy records, Low, Heroes, and Larger, and his later Trent Reznor-infused years. So this should be pretty cool since Bauhaus did a great cover of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Oz. Did you ever hear that version?
Nope.
Really?
No.
Wow.
I'm not the biggest Bowie fan.
Okay.
A lot of respect. There's a couple periods, his funky stuff. The what album's got Golden Years on it? Is that Diamond Dogs?
No. Not Golden Years is on. I can't think of it right now. Yeah.
I like him. I pick and choose, but I know I wouldn't say I'm an overall, but so I didn't hear the Bauhaus version. I'd like to. Sounds pretty.
Yeah, go check it out. They do a really good version. Peter Murphy does a really great version of that song, and he is kind of back then he was in that style of Thin White Duke type.
Okay.
You know,
a crooner.
Yeah, Jack's wife is a big Bauhaus fan, big Peter Murphy fan. So I think they're playing in somewhere around Boston. I'll let them know. Celebrating David Bowie has hit 17 countries since 2017 and has featured guest appearances by Sting, Gary Oldman, Thomas Dolby, Joe Bonasama, Seal, Perry Farrell, Kate Pearson from the B-52s, Ewan McGregor, Simon Le Bon, Gavin Rosdale, LaRue, Def Leppard's Joe Elliott, Spandau Ballet's Tony Hadley, Corey Taylor, Ian Astbury from The Cult, Darren Criss, The Tubes' Fee Waybill, Living Color, the London Community Gospel Choir, and the Harlem Gospel Choir. Wow.
Very
this
cool.
could be an interesting show. This seems to be an ongoing thing. They just kind of change, change performers. It's almost like Ringo Starr's all-star band, right?
His all-star band.
They're always changing.
The guys from Night Ranger were in there. All kinds of people.
I know, right? So let's see. Where is this? I know. Oh, here we go. Let me open this up. Okay. So we have the final songs performed live by 50 of rock's biggest artists. All right.
Are these true farewells?
They are example. On September 6th, 1970, the Jimi Hendrix Experience delivered an exhilarating set at the Open Air Love and Peace Festival in Furman, Germany. The group toured through favorites like Hey Joe, Purple Haze, All Along the Watchtower, with the guitar luminary wailing away on his instrument. It was exciting, uplifting, and everything fans would want from Hendrix. As fate would have it, the set would be the legendary musician's final headlining concert. It was not, however, his final performance. That moment actually happened several days later in London. Eric Burdon and the funk band War were playing at a jazz club when Hendrix was welcomed on the stage as a surprise guest. Burdon recalled the event in his autobiography, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. I introduced Jimmy to the audience. The typical London jazz crowd tried to show indifference as he took the stage, but a ripple of applause greeted the greatest guitar player in the world. These fucking assholes. Right?
Jaded.
Yeah. So, fuck, I just lost the article. Here we go. Hendrix performed 2 covers with the band, Tobacco Road and Mother Earth, the latter closing the set. We slid into Mother Earth, a beautiful blues written by Memphis Slim. Burden remembered. We ended the set with a burning jam. Jimmy was flying. Then it was over. Hendrix died 2 days later.
Wow.
So that was his last live performance.
And he jammed with a great band.
And just think there's some fucking assholes out there now saying, I saw Jimi Hendrix in his live show. I didn't think he was that good. We were at a jazz club. I snapped.
Yeah. Scooby wow, man. or maybe they're like, it was like seeing God. Maybe they're just jumping on the hysteria.
Yeah.
While they're there, about it.
They're being assholes and snobs and like jazz snobs like Jack and you know, say that because he's not here. You know, these jazz snobs, and then he dies 2 days later, and they're all like, "Oh, I was there. I was at that show. He was fabulous."
Yeah.
Because that's how jazz people talk. He was fabulous. Let me tell you, he was just marvelous.
I've done my jazz DJ impersonation on Music Relish.
Oh, you have?
Well, yeah, well, that was Coltrane at the Blue Note. And then they nod off for 10, 15 minutes. And like, I can wake up, you know, there's like, this is Art Blakey at the.
This article is from 2019. So some of these are kind of, most of them are still intact. But like they mentioned, Motley Crue, and well, we know they won't die. So, you know. It says, we searched through the history books to find the final songs performed by some of rock's biggest stars. Though they may not have ended on their own terms, they all left behind a concert history worthy of admiration. What does this say? Robert Kirkman, seen the Grateful Dead's last show at Wrigley Field on July 9th, 1995. Okay. All right. Very good.
What day did Jerry die?
I don't know, but it's the Grateful Dead. Nobody really fucking cares. Mark Smith might care, but he's not here.
A lot of people in Asheville care. there's a lot of psychedelic teddy bear shirts around here.
Okay. All right.
Let's
see. Of course, you have arguably the most famous final performance of all time was the Beatles' "Get Back," right? On the roof.
That's right.
On January 30th, 1969.
Yep.
So you have the Rolling Stones, Brian Jones, right, with Brian Jones. So Robert Kirkman said Jerry Garcia died a month later. Okay. Well, maybe he witnessed Jerry Garcia's last final performance.
Rehab kills you, man.
It kills them all. Killed Rick James. He should have stayed on the crack. He'd still be alive. Cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Oh my God.
So the Rolling Stones with Brian Jones was their last song, I guess, was "I Can't Get No Satisfaction." The band was on hand to accept the award at the Best R&B Group presented to them by New Musical Express. Substance abuse and growing tension with Keith Richards had Brian Jones on the precipice of expulsion from the group. The Stones played 2 songs as part of the day's festivities, with their rendition of "Satisfaction" representing the final performance with Jones in tow. Though he contributed to the band's next 2 albums, he'd never appear publicly. So I guess there you go. With the group again, he was officially dismissed from the Stones in June 1969 and officially dismissed from this planet 2 weeks later.
2 weeks. Didn't get to enjoy his retirement.
Man. Yeah.
What year was that? 71?
That was 69. 69, yeah.
Okay. And Hendrix died in 71, right?
Yes.
Okay. Morrison said, okay.
Well, no, he died in 70. Hendrix died in 70 because this was September 16th, 1970 was his last live show.
Morrison died in 71.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have AC/DC with Bon Scott, right? In early 1980, AC/DC completed their Highway to Hell tour with a makeup date in Southampton, England. The group had begun their worldwide infiltration, having made their first significant impact on the US and UK charts. Singer Bon Scott would not survive to see the band he fronted become one of the biggest acts on earth. It's true.
Yeah.
He died following the Southampton show, choking on his own vomit after a night of drinking. Scott's final song was "Let There Be Rock," the band's 1977 classic. All right. Have you ever seen any last shows?
Vomit theme going here.
Yeah. Have you ever seen any last shows, not like people dying, but like concerts, like this is the last show of a tour or anything like that?
I don't think so. No, yeah. I can say no.
I've seen a few. I've seen more opening shows of tours than I have closing, but I've seen a couple of closing tours, but everyone lived, so I can't contribute to this list. But
that's a lot to maintain. That's a lot of, as kids we heard about the glamour of rock, the pressure behind it. And if you want to do a good show after a year and a half long tour, and in those days in the 70s too, they had to make an album after that.
Yeah. They didn't stop.
Burn, baby, burn.
Yeah. Let me see. David Bowie. Of all fucking songs, that his last song was his "Little Fat Man." It says, yes, Bowie and Alicia Keys delivered a heartfelt rendition of "Changes" during a 2006 charity event. Many have called that the Thin White Duke's final performance. In truth, Bowie took to the stage many months later as part of the High Line Festival. There, the singer introduced comedian Ricky Gervais by performing an a cappella rendition of "Little Fat Man," a song Bowie had previously sung with Gervais on the sitcom Extras. Wow. That's kind of interesting. Yeah.
He didn't perform
2007. Yeah.
Well, of that until his death, really. He laid low.
He was sick. He had produced some play on Broadway, and I saw a part of his documentary where he showed up one day at the rehearsal, and it was kind of he didn't look good. Like he stopped kind of going out in public, and
that's right. Well, he had heart surgery too, I think.
Yeah, but he had cancer, didn't he?
Well, he died of liver cancer.
Liver cancer. Yeah, he didn't look good. He kind of sat there, he smiled, and but yeah, and then a few days later, I guess he died. So
he took he took some photographs like 2 days before he died, and he's wearing a suit outside. I'm like, it's gonna run. I'm like, he looked great. I thought he looked, considered he was ill, but I mean, he was smiling, laughing, and I'm thinking like, 2 days later, it was gone. I mean,
dude, it's weird. It's fucking weird. You mentioned that. I'm just gonna bring this up. It's nothing to do with music, but it's something to do with what you just said.
Okay.
So about, I don't know, 6 or so, 7 months ago, good friend of mine, guy, he was still on the job with Customs and Border Protection, and I had known him for a good 15 years, and he had a heart attack, and then he was in the hospital, and he was out, and then he had another heart attack, and he was in the hospital, and he FaceTimed me from the hospital, and we're just talking, and I just decided at that point to take a screenshot of me and him on the FaceTime. Just, I didn't think anything of it. It was just, it ended up being a good picture. And 2 days later, he died.
Oh, man.
Right. And then recently when I was up in Boston, one of my good friends, really good friends, we went to coffee. We would always go for coffee when I went up there. We went to coffee on the Saturday morning, the first Saturday I was up there. And I always took a selfie with him and I, and 2 days later he died. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure those were the last pictures.
Wow.
Of these guys, and it was just like, it like happened again. I was like, what the fuck? Now the joke is don't take a selfie with me.
Wait 2 days.
Next time you see me, don't
enjoy every sandwich, man.
I love those guys, but yeah, people are like, I'm not taking a selfie with you. No.
That's them. No paparazzi for you.
Not gonna happen.
Sorry about your friends, by the way, but that's.
And see, Mark Flynn says, in the point of that story, never take a selfie with Scott McLean or you might die.
Scott, don't do any screenshots of us right now.
I'm screenshotting right now, Lou. I'm
fuck you. Come on.
right now.
Get out of here. All right.
You're going to break the curse, Lou.
I'm not going to sleep for a couple days.
It's going to be you, Lou. You're going to break the curse. It's going to be you. You'll make it, Lou. You'll make it.
I'd better make it worth it then. I'm gonna go break every law in the land now.
You might as well. I'm gonna go rob a fucking bank.
Yeah, really.
Creedence Clearwater Revival. Their last song was "Keep On Chuglin." It was played on September 19th, 1970. What started as a democracy turned into a dictatorship. John Fogerty was now in complete control of CCR. And that didn't sit well with the other band members, especially his brother Tom. The guitarist wanted to be more involved, which turned out to be a big fucking mistake in the songwriting, but saw that he would not be given such an opportunity. Well, you got to know your fucking limits.
That's right.
Feeling frustrated and stifled, he quit the group in early 71. CCR pushed forward without him for a year before completely disbanding as John Fogerty pursued life as a solo artist. The final performance with Tom as a member took place on September 19th, 1970 in Toronto. The closing song that night was Keep On Chuglin off the group's 1969 LP, Bayou Country.
Keep on chuglin. Yep.
Yeah. Mark Flynn says CCR was the best. Fortunate Son is the best. It's actually not their best song. It's a great song.
Sure.
But I don't think it's their best song. I think there's others. I love their version of Susie Q.
Run Through the Jungle?
Right. Yeah, Run Through the Jungle. I saw Creedence Clearwater Revisited at the Hard Rock Live in Hollywood, Florida. And there was some younger girls standing. Everything's now on the floor. You could sit, but everybody stands. Doesn't matter, seats or not. And so they started playing Susie Q, right? And then, the infamous jam in the middle of Susie Q. And it just goes, right? Yeah, it's fucking great, right? Right? They were the best backing band. Like those guys, Man for Man at the time were the best.
Man for Man.
No, Man for Man.
Oh, Man for Man.
Yeah, Man for Man. Player for Player. They were like what I say about Radiohead now is that, combine the best musicians in the world. Those guys, the bass player, the drummer, and the rhythm guitar player, fucking unbelievable musicians.
No flash either. No flash.
No, just driving really like in just tight song, tight music.
Yep.
So they're playing Susie Q, and the girl in front, like 6 minutes into it, the girl in front of me says to the other girl, "Why is this song so long?" It's like, you have no fucking idea what you're watching. You have no idea what you're watching.
That's a jam.
Yeah. Why is this song so long?
What's the attention span?
Dude, I saw U2 in Philadelphia, and we're on the floor. We're like right near the stage. And again, these young girls standing next to me, and Bono starts talking like he always does. And he mentions Live Aid. And the girl looks and goes, What was Live Aid? I went, oh my God.
Oh yeah. Kid.
Boy. Yeah, and right. that was like fucking 10 years ago. Like more than 10 years ago. And what's Live Aid? I'm like, oh boy. All right. Well,
way back.
Yeah. What do you think, Tom?
Before cell phones.
What do you think Tom Petty's last song was?
Interesting.
I'm going to give you 3 guesses.
That's fair.
Yeah, I'll give you 3 guesses. Do I need Jeopardy music to kill this dead air?
Really?
Ding, ding.
I'm going to say Refugee.
Nope.
Okay. Running Down a Dream. I'm going to blow this whole thing.
Nope.
I got one more.
Yep.
Southern accents.
No. What is your favorite song by Tom Petty?
Oh, shit. I don't know.
American Girl, maybe?
Nope. No, definitely not.
Well, that was his last song.
Was it really American Girl?
Yeah, that was his last song. Yeah, that he ever sang live.
Mark Flynn got it.
There you go. He fucking Mark Flynn, though. Let me tell you something about Mark Flynn.
Don't Do Me Like That is my favorite song.
Okay. All right. Let me tell you something about Mark Flynn. Mark Flynn
is he the king of the fucking.
No, he's the king of the Google.
Oh, okay.
Dave Phillips is king of the 45s. Mark Flynn is king of the Google. Nobody Googles faster than Mark Flynn. My buddy Mark Flynn. Nobody, because he always has to be right. He always has to be right. He wants to be the first one to answer the question. See, even Robert Kirkman says he Googled it. Right. Everybody knows now. My whole audience, this whole cult following that we have on this podcast knows that Mark Flynn is a fucking notorious Googler. Okay,
so far. We have a denial here too.
Yeah. So Tom Petty always knew that his September 25th performance at the Hollywood Bowl would close out his 40th anniversary tour. What the rocker didn't know was that the show would be his last. Petty's final set list included some of his best loved songs, including Breakdown, Mary Jane's Last Dance, Free Falling. The rock icon closed the evening with American Girl, the 1976 classic, serving as the cherry on top of a career-spanning night. 1 week later, Petty died peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by loved ones. So think about that. 1 week later, right?
Yeah.
And he died in his bed peacefully, surrounded by loved ones. Like, you didn't just die in your sleep. They knew you were dying.
Well, he had cardiac arrest. They found him a full cardiac arrest.
Well, according to this, surrounded by loved ones, like they were all around him when he died, right?
Yeah.
Like, did he have a heart attack? Was he sick and had a heart attack while he was sick? Did he have pancreatic cancer? God forbid.
No, he needed hip replacement. He was in a lot of pain. He was wearing a lot of fentanyl patches. It was an accidental death, but when I heard on the radio, they said he was either found or something happened. He went to full cardiac arrest. His heart stopped, and I don't think he ever regained consciousness. But I know he.
What happened to Prince too? Prince, the same thing.
Same thing. An overdose. He was in an elevator in Paisley Park.
Yeah.
But yeah, same thing. He was he had back issues. Prince had
jumping. He had feet issues.
You're jumping around. I mean, those boots. I mean, I have to wear dress shoes. My feet hurt. You know, I hate it. It hurts. You know,
and he's jumping off speakers with 6-inch heels.
I broke my left foot. I was chased by a rabid raccoon hiking, like in the mid-90s. Right, I ran. I fell down a thing, broke my foot. It will never stop hurting. But like I said, jumping off a piano with a guitar, just in heels, whether it was 80 pounds or not doesn't matter. But still, that's stress. It's fatigue on your body. But
I broke my left ankle once. I kicked somebody in the head. That broke my ankle. Mark Flynn knows about that story. He knows about that story.
It wasn't Mark's head though.
No, it wasn't Mark's head. No. But he knows the story. It was in the Philippines. I was stationed in the Philippines. I was.
Okay.
I was a little bit out of control back then.
Excellent.
A little kind of a different. Yeah. Mark Flynn says I was there.
You weren't kicking ass. You were kicking head.
I was everything. Yeah. Anyways. Wrong podcast.
I'd like to hear that story sometime.
I'll tell you one time. Anyways, what do you think Pink Floyd's? We're never going to get through 50, but we'll get through a bunch of them. What do you think Pink Floyd's last song was? 3 guesses.
What year was that?
2005.
2005. Money.
Nope.
I'm going for the hits. These are impossible for me. Let's see. Oh, was it Time? No. Nope. Saint-Tropez.
I bet you if Mark Smith was here, your game would be tight. It's like he's not here, so you're like, I can really just chill tonight. I don't have to.
I'm just no. I'm not Nim and Storm. I'm trying. The wall. I don't know.
It was off. It was Comfortably Numb. Comfortably Numb.
The last song of a show.
Pink Floyd's lineup went through a few changes over the years, most notably the departure of founding member Syd Barrett in '68. His final performance with the band took place January 20th that year, with the musician eventually being dismissed due to ongoing drug abuse. In 2007, a tribute show to Barrett got the remaining Pink Floyd members on the same stage, but not at the same time. Roger Waters performed separately while David Gilmour, Nick Mason, what a fucking asshole Roger Waters is, Nick Mason and Richard Wright appeared together. The choice then for the last true Pink Floyd show has to be 2005's Live 8 performance. The 5-song set ended with Comfortably Numb, the popular track from this '79 album, The Wall.
It's a downer to end a concert, but a lot of the material wasn't. They had no fast songs, so it just that's
no. But if you go to a Pink Floyd concert, I think you're ready for that. Like you're not looking for any. You're looking to just be in the mood. It's like it's an experience, right?
It's got that.
I personally never seen
guitar solo though.
What's that?
It's got that crappy David Gilmour guitar solo.
Yeah, right. Who the fuck? Like who's David Gilmour, right? Although it would be great if Nick Mason did a drum fucking solo because Jack hates drum solos.
I do too.
Do you really?
I don't like it's like I'd say masturbation is supposed to be done in private.
Is that a drummer joke? Is that a drummer's joke, Lou?
You're jerking off of that. That's where I look at it. It's just so masturbatory. My thing on drum solos, you got to have amazing like technique. Like you can't just bat the thing around. There's got to be a theme to it. Some people do it great. I mean, I do them okay, but it's just not something I don't know. My ego doesn't need that. I don't think.
You know who did? Who's a great fucking drummer? and did great drum solos. It was actually voted one of the best drummers in the world in like I forget, in like 70 some, like 77 or something, 70. Of all people, Karen Carpenter was a fucking unbelievable drummer.
Yeah, she was. Yeah.
Like fucking classic. Like she's a jazz drummer. She was a jazz drummer. You could tell that she went and she kind of and brought it beyond like Stuart Copeland or what's his name? Drummer for Cream. How can I forget his name?
Ginger Baker.
Ginger Baker, yeah. I mean, go to YouTube and watch Karen Carpenter drumming. Fucking fast.
Yeah, she had some technique. Buddy Rich praised her. You know, and she was considered contemporary pop. So for him to praise her like that, you know, said a lot. Obviously said a lot, but
yeah. Mark Flynn says one drum she didn't mess with was a chicken drum. Oh, that's brutal. She ain't heavy. She's my sister. What? What? Right now, Jack would be going, "Are you serious? Are you serious?"
My phone was in the other room. I'd take a selfie right
now. Nirvana's last live song was on March 1st, 1994. It was Heart Shaped Box. It's a great song. Months after their performance on MTV Unplugged, which was not a fucking Unplugged.
No, it's true.
It's not an Unplugged. People have to stop calling it an Unplugged because it wasn't. They did The Man Who Sold the World with a fucking electric guitar. So it's that
electrified.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it does. So it wasn't Unplugged. The best Unplugged was Alice in Chains.
Did Pat Smear play on that Nirvana one?
Yes,
he did. Was he playing an acoustic or an electric?
He was an acoustic.
But they're running through a fuzz box or a distortion pedal, so that's just.
Well, Kurt Cobain's was at one point. I think he did play an electric guitar. I believe. Because I don't think you can get that sound out of an electric acoustic guitar. I think it was a regular guitar, but I could be wrong. But either way, it was plugged in.
Yeah, if you're playing through a fuzz box, you know. It's just...
Yeah, it was plugged in, so it wasn't unplugged. Anyways, Kurt Cobain was diagnosed with bronchitis and laryngitis earlier in the trek for their European tour dates, but he ignored doctors' recommendations to rest and pushed forward with performing. The grunge icon's last concert took place at an airplane hangar in Munich. Cobain's strained voice, coupled with the venue's poor acoustics, resulted in a set below the group's usual standard. The final song of the night was Heart Shaped Box, with Cobain struggling to deliver the tune's emphatic chorus. What was the Eagles? What do you think the Eagles' last live song was? It was on July 31st, 2015. I'll tell you that.
25th. So that's with Glenn Frey.
Yeah.
Hotel California?
Nope.
Who sang it? The Henley song? Or Frey?
Glenn Frey.
Heartache Tonight. Heartache Tonight?
Glenn Frey contributed to it.
Old 55.
Nope.
They both sang lead, you're saying.
Well, I'll tell you, In the City. It's a Joe Walsh song, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So though the group wrapped up.
I never would have guessed that.
Yeah. Though the group wrapped its long-running history of the Eagles tour in the summer of 2015, its final performance with Glenn Frey wasn't in front of thousands of adoring fans, but rather a small group of about 300 people. The event took place at CBC High School in St. Louis, where a wealthy donor requested that the band perform for his 60th birthday. The Eagles delivered a 9-song set, closing with Joe Walsh, the Joe Walsh penned In the City from what movie?
Not heavy metal.
No, it's the closing song for the Warriors.
The Warriors.
Yeah. They ended with the Joe Walsh penned In the City. Frey died less than 6 months later. Yeah.
So at that point, they were taking those kind of corporate gigs. Not they really needed him. He must have paid them a lot of money.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
They don't have to do that.
No. And they only played 9 songs. So to them, that was like, and they don't even probably have to fucking tune up for that shit. They just show up. We're just going to jam.
9 songs too, yeah.
Yeah, they don't know. We're just going to jam. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
The Warriors, that was Warriors, come on to play.
Yep.
That's on Tubi.
Oh, it's a great movie.
That and the Lords of Flatbush. Ever see that?
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Saw the Warriors a few times. The last time I saw them was at a drive-in in Revere, Massachusetts, and I ended up getting in a fight, and the dude smashed a bottle on my head.
Wow.
Yeah, but he ended up on the wrong side of it, though. He, in the end, I just had 6 stitches. He had a chunk of his back missing, and I'm not going to say how that happened. But
bit him.
And he got knocked out, and he had a concussion because I kicked him in the head. I had a habit of doing that. He's staying down. He's staying down. You know, I don't. You see the movies like "Stay down, stay down." No, I never said that. You're just going to stay down. I'm going to make you stay down. That's it. So, yeah, that was the last. So that was the last time I saw the Warriors on the big screen. August 9th, 1986, Queen's final live song with Freddie Mercury was...
Another one bites the dust.
Nope. Good one, though. Good one. Lou, there you go, Lou.
I'm getting in the spirit of things. Oh, well, God.
We're only an hour and 15 minutes in. Welcome to the show, Lou.
We're on the death mode.
It's a morbid show, right?
Yeah. Dark, really.
Yeah, violent and death and Jesus.
Head kicking and
Jack. Yeah, Jack wouldn't have liked this show. Jack would have been
like, "What are you guys doing?" He started.
So,
what was their last song?
Their last song was "We Are the Champions."
We Are the Champions.
We Are the Champions. Yeah. Technically, Queen played one more song this night, ending the set with their customary closing tune, "God Save the Queen." However, Freddie Mercury didn't sing while the track was performed, instead using the moment to thank the audience. For that reason, "We Are the Champions" remains the final song the flamboyant frontman performed with Queen. Despite his ailing health, the rock icon delivered a powerful performance, leading throngs of fans through the classic hit "One Last Time." Okay, here we go. I'm gonna make what's his name? Where is he? In the comments. Bob Kirkman. Okay. So what was the last song that the Grateful Dead played with Jerry Garcia? I'm not going to put you through
Friend of the Devil.
It was July 9th, 1995. So whatever, what did Bob Kirkman say? He saw them, seen the Grateful Dead's last show in 1995, July 9th. Yeah, he did. All right. Look at Bob Kirkman. He was there.
Nice.
Fucker was there.
Get him on the show.
He called it right before. I did not even scan through this article before I pulled it up. I just knew, not with a bang, but with a whimper. That's how Jerry Garcia's run with the Grateful Dead ended. The musician had faced health issues for several years, and their effects had clearly taken their toll. The singer's voice was shaky during his final performance, and he often sat songs out while the rest of the group continued with their parts. Garcia's final tune would be "Box of Rain," the 1970 track penned by bandmate Phil Lesh. He would die 1 month later in his sleep, but the band was still playing the fucking song. That was the thing.
3 days later.
Songs don't end.
That's my favorite Grateful Dead song.
That's your what?
That's my favorite Grateful Dead song.
Ah, okay.
Box of Rain. But I wouldn't think they would play that at the end. But I've never seen a show.
Yeah,
it's a lot to sit through.
It's Mark Smith likes it, but it's a lot. It's a lot.
To each their own.
What was John Lennon's last live song?
Whatever Gets You Through the Night.
Nope. It's a great
Lucy
song.
in the Sky with Diamonds.
Nope.
No. It wasn't the Elton John concert.
Let me see it. What would you think it would be? Ideally, like for the...
I thought his last performance was Madison Square Garden.
What song? Thus,
I saw her standing there.
no.
Oh,
Imagine.
Shit. Where did he play it?
April 18th, 1975.
Was that the Elton John concert?
Let me see. Though many point to Lennon's appearance with Elton John at Madison Square Garden in 74 as the former Beatles' swan song, he actually performed a 3-song set months later as part of the television special A Salute to Sir Lou Grade, the master showman. Grade and Lennon had a checkered history, the former having finagled partial ownership of the latter's catalog of songs. Nevertheless, on April 18th, 1975, Lennon delivered 2 covers during his performance before closing out with his own timeless Imagine. The iconic musician even changed the track's lyrics slightly, reflecting his recent battles to avoid deportation. Imagine there's nothing to kill or die for, Lennon said, and no immigration too. Though it would be several more years before his life would tragically be cut short, Lennon never returned to the stage.
I wonder if there's any video footage of that.
It's on YouTube. The picture on the article looks like it was a screenshot.
Did he play with a band or
it's probably just him? I think it was probably just him.
Wow.
What do you think was Led Zeppelin's last song together before John Bonham died?
Song remains the same.
Nope. What do you think is their most famous song?
Rock and Roll.
Nope.
No. Stairway to Steven.
Nope. That would be their most famous, but Whole Lot of Love.
Okay.
On July 7th, 1980. This stop in Berlin was the final date on Led Zeppelin's European tour, supporting its Through the Outdoor. I love that. So my favorite song off that album is In the Evening. What a great fucking song, man.
Yep.
And Bonham was just killing it on the drums on that.
Yeah, that really wasn't a bad album.
No, it wasn't a bad album. No,
it was mellowed, but it still had some good stuff on it.
Fool in the Rain, right?
Yeah.
It was a good album, man.
I heard that yesterday. I love the guitar sound on that. The guitar solo. It's a weird sound.
It's such a cool song, man. Yeah. It's just a cool song. It's nothing spectacular. Right. It's just a cool fucking song. It's a cool song. Yeah.
I like Hot Dog.
Yeah.
Hot Dog's fun.
Let me see. European tour, Into the Outdoor. John Bonham and Jimmy Page had both been struggling with alcohol and drug addictions, causing strife within the band. Go figure. The addictions were affecting the musicians' performances, with Zeppelin even having to cut sets short due to its members' intoxication. Still, the July 7th performance reportedly went off without a hitch, and the band tearing through a 12-song set before returning to the stage for a 2-song encore. They closed with Whole Lot of Love, the group's legendary 1969 hit. Bonham was found dead that September, the result of alcohol poisoning. Led Zeppelin disbanded, the remaining members rarely performing together the decades since.
More vomit, and they did it right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it.
Soundgarden with Chris Cornell. My favorite song by Soundgarden. It was basically one song kind of leads into another, but Slaves and Bulldozers. That's a great fucking song, man. If you've never heard that, go listen to it on YouTube or put it on whatever streaming service. But Soundgarden's Slaves and Bulldozers. That is a fucking hard-hitting song, man. And In My Time of Dying. Let me see. Wow. I don't like Spoon Man. That's like one song I don't like by them. I don't like that song.
No.
May 17th, 2017. People have speculated that Chris Cornell knew this performance would be his last, pointing to the infusion of Led Zeppelin's In My Time of Dying as evidence. By the way, Chris Cornell, greatest singer of his generation. You've heard me say that I don't know how many times on this show.
And they didn't
greatest singer. Huh?
And they haven't had a Soundgarden reunion or resurgence or
no, you can't.
Because that's another, unless someone's doing an impersonation of them.
Look at all those bands, Stone Temple Pilots. No, you can't pull it off without Scott Weiland. Nirvana, they never tried, right?
No.
Soundgarden can't try. Alice in Chains is trying, and it's horrible. Those lead singers, like if Eddie Vedder died, God forbid, Pearl Jam couldn't. You can't replace these guys.
No.
They're just in it now for a money grab. It's all it is, and they just want to keep playing and keep touring. But the
Eagles did it, but I hear those tracks with his kid. If his son wasn't in it, and he's not in it now, even with Vince Gill, it's really not the same. They're playing nice homage or whatever to Glenn Frey.
Yeah, and that's why I wouldn't go see them. You can't see them without Glenn Frey. You can't just don't. It's
the inner workings of the band. That was his band. It was that was pretty much what it was. It wasn't a total. There was
Don Henley might disagree with you, but
no. Well, what I meant was, as far as if he's like music, like actually coming up, the Henley was a lyricist. So
yeah.
Henley plays guitar a bit, but he works with other people. But that was, he was the chief in that sense. But
yeah. The song's refrain was combined with Slaves and Bulldozers, a deep cut from Soundgarden's 1991 LP, A Bad Motorfinger. It's a great fucking song. Go listen to it after the show tomorrow. Together, the tracks created a powerful closer with heavy rhythms and ferocious guitar. What do you think the Who's last song was together when Keith Moon died?
With Keith Moon. It's just what, 78?
78, yep.
We Won't Get Fooled Again?
Hey, I knew you were going to get one of these.
I gotta get one.
Oh, yeah. Robert
Redemption
Kirkman.
song.
What band did Soundgarden come from? Didn't it come from Mother Love Bone, I think?
Mother Love Bone?
I think they came from Mother Love Bone. The Who had not toured together in more than 2 years when they arrived at Shepperton Studios in England on May 25th, 1978. Their purpose that day was to record. I was right. Mother Love Bone. How can you ask me that question, Robert Kirkman? Really? Anyways, I'm going to act all pompous now. I knew the answer. Yeah. Their purpose that day was to record a performance for The Kids Are All Right, the documentary about the band that would eventually be released in 79. In front of a small audience, the group blazed through some of those biggest hits. Won't Get Fooled Again was the third song in the set list, but at the end of the show, director Jeff Stein asked The Who to play it again in hopes of capturing a bigger sound. The band begrudgingly complied. Following their second run-through of the song, drummer Keith Moon took a bow and briefly said hello to the fans before exiting. It would be his final appearance with the group. The rocket died of an overdose that September, and that was in May 25th.
So on the what was the last album? Was it Who Are You? What does it say on the chair that Keith Moon is sitting on?
Oh,
he's sitting backwards in a chair.
Yeah. I know this. I do. I can't think of it. No.
Not to be taken away.
Not to be taken away. Yeah. Well,
that was a bummer for me when he died. More of a Who fan than a Zeppelin fan, but that was like, wow. And they seem like, even then, when you're 17, 32 is like, he's middle aged. It's like, he was a young man. They're all so. What was he? He was 32. So was Bonham. I think they're both 32 when they died, weren't they?
I think so. Yeah.
Those two. That was a big blow for rock drummers. And Perry Dedovich and I disagree a little bit, but Kenny Jones coming into the Who it did not do it for me. A couple nice pop songs in there, but
yeah.
So
he filled in well. But he's not. He can't.
No.
Huh?
He's a great drummer in his own right.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's not Keith Moon, and nobody else ever was, and nobody else will ever be. The band, November 25th, 1976. Their final song was Don't Do It. It's a performance that continues to resonate as one of the greatest in rock history. Over the course of an immense 42-song set, the band said goodbye with their famous Last Waltz. The 42-song set, Jesus Christ, I forgot. I haven't seen that documentary in a long time.
It's great. I knew that.
It is.
I knew the answer to that one.
Okay.
Now in the movie, this is what's weird because they play that song in the opening credits, so it looks like the opening of the movie, but it's not.
Yeah.
Because he
Okay.
comes in, goes, "You're still here?" You know, basically because the crowd was supposed to leave at that point. But
who would leave though? Like, why would you leave?
yeah,
Right?
exactly. Yeah.
Well, I've never walked out of a concert like that. I was like that. I wanted to really go see.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I don't think. Let me see. Have I ever walked out of a concert? Now you know what? Motley Crue, when they did their very first like comeback, right? It was a big deal. They kicked it off in Fort Lauderdale, at this arena in Fort Lauderdale, and I went to the show with a friend of mine, and this, that, and then next thing you know, fucking encore comes. They sing one song, two songs, and my buddy's like, "All right, let's go." He's my ride. So we had to fucking leave. I'm like, I've never left a show early like that. Not that I can remember, but he's my ride and he wants to go. So what am I going to say?
It's not of your own volition there.
Yeah.
I walked out of a Springsteen stadium show because it was too much and people were flinging beer everywhere. And it was the second show I'd been to and I'd seen enough, you know, but at that point I said, fuck this, I'm leaving, you know.
Yeah,
I couldn't kick four guys in the head. Otherwise, you know. I got 2 feet, man. I got 2 feet. You know.
There you go.
It was a mess. I said, I'm 40 years old or 42. I'm gonna drive home covered in beer. You know, you know, I'm legit driving, but like, you know, you pull me over. Like, I was sober, but like, you know, I was.
Well, Jack, that happened with Jack. Jack and his wife went to a show and there was beer being thrown. And he went to the concierge and complained, knowing that they were going to upgrade him, and they did to better seats.
Well, it's funny because when I typed this in one time when the first times I watched your show, I mentioned that on your show, and on the show, Jack goes, "Lou, you should have gone up to the front desk." I said, "You know,
yeah, that's right,
point,
that's
you know?
right, yeah, that's right." Yeah.
Well, Bruce Springsteen from the stage, he goes, "Lou Colicchio, if you don't want the show, go get your friggin' money back." Way
to bring it full circle, Lou. Way to bring it full circle, buddy.
I want Bruce to personally give me the money back.
Exactly, you know? That motherfucker.
Here you go, kid.
Yeah. Him and his $7 concert tickets now.
You're from Jersey.
Yeah. Well, he made enough in the first 5 shows to cover the next 10 $7 tickets.
Yeah, well, once the gouging was over.
Yeah. Rush, August 1st, 2015.
Oh, I should know this. Tom Sawyer?
Nope.
No. Spirit of the Radio?
Nope.
It's got to be a biggie. Shit. I'm just fucking more. I don't know.
So you always got to look at it like this. You always have to say, okay, it was the last song of the show, so it was an encore song, right? So you got to kind of, and so there was always their most popular songs usually, or some of their most popular, or like usually in the top.
Possibly
one more guess.
Working Man.
Look at Lou. Fucking Lou's making a comeback, buddy. There you go.
The ultimate irony being Neil Peart was not the drummer on that song. That's from their first album.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was a guy named John Rutsey who was the first drummer. They're more like a Zeppelin-esque hard rock band, but then they went prog.
See, that's the shit I wait for, Lou. Every fucking show. I wait for that. Like, you come up with this obscure, like, well, he wasn't, this guy was the drummer, and da-da-da-da. Like, that's the shit right there, buddy.
And I didn't even need my notebook tonight.
You didn't even need the infamous notebook.
I'm doodling. No, I'm fully riveted to this show.
Well, they said...
no distractions, man. No distractions.
They knew it was coming to an end, even if they hadn't fully accepted it. Neil Peart was suffering from chronic tendonitis and shoulder pain. I know that. I have permanent tendonitis in one of my arms, and I have one of my forearms, and fucking my rotator cuffs are all fucked up. That was from working a dog for 30 years, but
the dog's pulling you.
Yeah, it's not a fucking young man's job, I'll tell you that. The rigors of rock life finally catching up to him. As Rush closed their R40th anniversary tour, it was clear that he was ready to retire. So the famed Canadian rock band, praised as innovators in hard and progressive rock, took to the stage for the last time at the Forum in Los Angeles. The set included beloved classics like Distant Early Warning, Jacob's Ladder, and Closer to the Heart. but it was the final tune that really brought the house down, an electric rendition of the band's 1974 track, Working Man. Peart had remained close friends with Geddy Lee and Alex Lifeson, and though they still regularly talk, the bandmates insisted Rush are done, and well, they are done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was 2015?
That was 2015, August 1st. Yeah.
Their documentary time stands still. It's about that last tour. And he talks about his health issues. He goes, I can't do this when I'm 72. He goes, I'm 62 now.
Yeah.
And that's a year older than me, actually 6 months older than me now. I'm like, he couldn't do it, but the way he hit, that guy was a hard hitter. I mean,
again, so if you look at
intense, man.
You look at like Charlie Watts, like not a high energy drummer. So it saves wear and tear, right?
He mentioned Charlie Watts. He goes, I could play Charlie Watts's parts at 72.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But they had this like puppeteer thing with Charlie Watts doing the thing with the hi-hat and the snare. It was pretty good. It wasn't an insult. It was pretty cool, actually. He goes, because I can't do my parts at 72.
Yeah, I don't think Charlie Watts cared. If he was alive, I don't know if he was alive when that happened, but
or he'd knock on his hotel room like he did Mick Jagger and punch him in the face.
Yeah.
He said the bottoms of his feet were coming off. He had all these things with his feet were just. He goes, the several tours before, he goes, I come off every tour with like a different thing. Like the shoulder would be okay, but then the other one would be, but the tendonitis, he had the same thing.
Tendonitis is brutal, man.
I've had it in my forearms and it sucks, brutal. Man. I had a little BB pistol. My summer playing, I couldn't even fire a BB pistol.
Yeah, it's like, constant. So, when that flares up, it's constant. Like it doesn't go away. And it's just a sharp digging pain. It's fucking brutal, man. Radiating. It's radiating. What was Elvis Presley's last live song? It was June 26, 1977. What was his last live song?
2 months before he died. In my way?
Nope.
Hunk of Burning Love.
No.
No, Suspicious Minds. I don't
know. No, I would. That's my favorite.
Hound Dog.
Nope. Can't Help Falling in Love.
The last song?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll give them what they want. I don't know.
It was the summer of 77 when Elvis Presley set foot on stage for the final time. The acclaimed singer had infamously put on weight since his heyday, but still managed to dance and shake through his performance. Fat Elvis was pretty cool, though. You have to give Fat Elvis a lot of credit.
Yeah, he was still great. Did you ever see the 68 comeback special?
Fucking stud.
Yeah,
absolute fucking stud.
He was the coolest guy on the planet.
Fucking stud. I mean, even I looked at him, I went, that's a good looking motherfucker right there.
He was the best looking guy on the planet. I mean,
I wish I could wear a leather fucking suit like that motherfucker right there. That dude, I'm like, that's a good looking dude.
Yeah, I told the tractors, I said, watch, one of my bosses at work, she's not a big Elvis fan. I said, watch that 68 comeback special. You're going to dig him. You're going to like him.
I'm telling you.
The stars were all lined up for the guy that night.
Fucking
A. Nothing wrong. Yeah.
That stud.
Super cool, man. Total stud.
Total fucking stud. You can't, and I don't care what anybody, they can say whatever you want. Watch that fucking special. You're like, that's a good looking motherfucker right there.
and he was on. He was on, man.
Fucking cool as ice. Cool as ice.
Yep.
Let me see. It infamously put on weight since his heyday, but still managed to dance and shake through his performance, much to the delight of the Indianapolis audience. The rocker tossed a scarf into the crowd as he delivered his final tune, a soaring rendition of Can't Help Falling in Love. He flew back to Graceland after the set, where he would die 7 weeks later. Yeah.
So that was what he died August 17th or 16th, 77.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was a couple days before my birthday, but I remember. Do you remember where you were when Elvis died? When you heard the king was dead.
Yeah, I heard it on the radio. I was just a kid, so I heard it on the radio, and I knew that my friend's mother, that's a couple houses down, was a fucking big Elvis fan, and she was all upset. She was all upset. Yeah, crying and yeah. It was just another summer day to me.
Really,
you know, what was I? It was 77.
77.
So I was
August 16th, I think.
I was like 12. I was 12 years old. 12 going on 13. So
I was almost 16.
Yeah, Elvis was like everywhere. So it was one of those things where you didn't really. So it's like it was Elvis. Like, okay, Elvis died. So what's the big deal? He's fucking everywhere. You know?
You ever hear the Mojo Nixon song? Elvis is everywhere.
Yeah,
Elvis is everywhere, except not Michael J. Fox apparently. According to Mojo Nixon.
All right, one last one. Then we'll get into the on this day in music, etc. So. And we'll pick this up. I want you to come on next week, even though Jack, I don't know what his fucking schedule is. Every other week, maybe he won't. But I want to finish. You'll come on. And Mark can come on next week too. If he doesn't have a class, he doesn't have a special class.
He's saving lives.
He's saving lives.
He's not in the ER though. But you never know. You just might have to revive a junkie.
Yeah, you never know. That's right. That's right. Jim Morrison in the Doors, all right? And I say that because, they went on to have other lead singers kind of, and on their own. But the last song by the Doors with Jim Morrison, so Jim Morrison's last live song would be what? On December 12th, 1970.
Break On Through.
No. Well, Lou ended in a bang, buddy. Ended in a bang.
I'm trying not to go obvious here. I'm not going to light my fire.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Fuck it. I'll light my fire.
You got it, Lou.
I didn't get it. All right.
You said light my fire, right?
Yeah, but it was just like so. Okay.
Lou, fucking take the credit, Lou. Fucking take the fucking credit.
Humility prevents.
Jesus Christ, I'm trying to build you up here, and you just this self-deprecation bullshit ain't working. It's not helping me, Lou.
I am the greatest.
I'm trying to make Lou the fucking icon.
I'll take it. All right.
And you're like, really? Was that the fucking answer? What a shitty song. Like, Lou.
I'm like trying not to be obvious.
Lou. Yeah. Jesus Christ. Yep. Jim Morrison's alcoholism was already spiraling out of control by the time he stepped on stage at the Warehouse in New Orleans. Midway through the set, he began forgetting lyrics. Oh. He then attempted to tell a joke, but ended up endlessly rambling. The singer tried to push forward with his performance, at one point hanging on to the mic stand for support. As the band played the classic Light My Fire, Morrison decided to take a seat on the drum riser. He initially refused to stand up and sing the track's final verse, but rose to his feet after being nudged by drummer John Densmore. When standing, Morrison repeatedly smashed the mic stand, smashed the night stand before abruptly walking off and ending the show early. The tumultuous set would be his last performance.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sitting down on the riser.
And next week we'll start off with Van Halen.
Cool.
Yeah.
Densmore and Morrison apparently didn't get along.
No, probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. Hey, you know what time it is, Lou?
Well, what happened this week?
This day in music. Actually, it's not. Top 10 this week in 1991. That's right.
91.
91.
That year? No, there was no. You threw a year out one time.
I threw it out one year because that list, you're right, it was fucking horrible. Yeah. Number 10 this week in 1991, I Saw Red by Warrant. Oh, wow.
Wow.
I know, right? They survived the 80s. Number 9 this week in 1991 was Disappear, In Excess. Really good song. Number 8, I'll Give All My Love to You by Keith Sweat. Keith. Number 7, great song this week in 1991, Wicked Game by Chris Isaac.
Oh, yeah.
Good video, too.
Mm-hmm.
Evidently, the chick in the video, I forget her name, she didn't like him too much, though. But, yeah, it's a good song.
He was no Elvis.
What a wicked game to play. To make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do. To make me dream of you. Oh, I don't want to. My brother hates when I sing. So, yeah. Great guitar riffs, though. Great guitar riffs in that. Very simple, but very great.
Great song.
Number 6 this week in 1991, The First Time by Surface. Number
The Who by what?
Yeah, exactly.
What by who?
Number 5 this week in 1991, Where Does My Heart Beat Now by Celine Dion. Number 4 this week in 1991, Someday by Mariah Carey. Number 3 this week in 1991, One More Try by Timmy T. Number 2 this week in 1991, this was a big, I was in Sacramento, I was stationed in Sacramento. This is a big club song back then. Gonna Make You Sweat by CNC Music Factory.
Big hit.
And number 1 this week in 1991, All the Man That I Need by the late, great Whitney Houston.
Wow.
Yeah. Not a bad. That's 91. That sounds about right.
It's amazing how in those 90s, like a lot of the top 10 were like, hip hop, R&B type stuff. It's not, I think there's one rock song there, wasn't there?
You had Warrant. You had In Excess. Yeah.
In Excess. Okay. They were a really good band, In Excess.
Yeah. That's a good song too.
That song, I don't know if I'm too familiar with.
Oh, go listen to it. You've heard it.
What's it called again?
Disappear.
Okay.
Yeah, you've heard it. I'm sure. This day in music, Mark Smith's favorite part of the show. Jack would be playing his fucking guitar right now, and I would be muting him like I do now. On this day, February 22nd, I'll start from the latest and go to the oldest. This day in 2022, American alternative rock musician and singer-songwriter Mark Langdon died at the age of 57. Langdon was a co-founder of Screaming Trees. Yeah, they were kind of a 90s band, and was also a member of Queens of the Stone Age and the Gutter Twins. On March 2021, Langdon was hospitalized with severe COVID-19. The disease had led to him going temporarily deaf, being unable to walk, slipping in and out of coma for several months. I say that to people now. They're like, COVID. I go, you get COVID now, you get the pussy COVID. Yeah. I had the hardcore COVID. I had the shit. I couldn't fucking taste or smell for 3 months. That was the real, and it happened right before Thanksgiving. So it fucked me up for Thanksgiving dinner, Christmas, holiday. Couldn't taste or smell. These pussies today, I got COVID. No, you got a fucking cold. Okay? You got a cold. So I had the shit, fucking fatigue. Like you walk across your house and you fucking, I had the hardcore COVID.
So you didn't make the Luther sandwich that year?
I did.
Is that what you call it?
Of course I did. I didn't taste it though.
Tastes like tofu.
The only thing I tasted, dude, salt.
Oh, okay.
Everything was, the only thing I could taste in any bit of food was salt. And I didn't add salt to it. It's like, if there was salt in the food, I tasted it. That's the only thing I could fucking taste.
Wow, that's weird.
It was very weird. It was very weird. And it sucked on Thanksgiving, cooking the turkey and the whole house. And I don't smell anything. Oh, I could have stuck my fucking head in a toilet bowl and wouldn't have smelled a thing. Wouldn't have smelled a thing. Yeah. So these people today, I got COVID. Get your shot. Fuck you. Okay. You got a cold. Take some fucking Robitussin.
Our other friend on Music Relish got it early on too, and that was bad.
Yeah. That was the hardcore COVID. That's the real man's COVID right there. That's the real man's COVID. Survived it. Really. Survived that shit.
I'm a virgin.
Well, you're lucky. Well, now you just get a cold. You get a cold, and you tell people I had COVID. They won't know the difference. Yeah. And somebody watching the show, I was watching the show earlier, actually, I think gave me the COVID. So I'm not going to say anything, though. It's somebody on the list. It's somebody on the
Wait, there's 3 people on the list. Which one of you guys did it? Wait, I got 3 guesses, right? I got 3 guesses.
You got 3 guesses for the 3 guys.
All right. I'm gonna have to say Bob Kirkman. It's got to be Bob Kirkman.
I got 3 guesses. Fucking great.
I'm going for superstar status here. You're building me up, so I'm going.
There's only 3 people on the list. I get 3 guesses.
Cheeto can't.
I get 3 guesses.
It's Captain
Oh, shit. Okay. Let me get back to this. On this day.
You guys confess.
On this day in 2017, David Bowie dominated the 2017 Brit Awards. The star, well, they knew he was dying, so I think he got some sympathy votes. The star was awarded Best British Male and Best British Album for his mournful swan song, Black Star, right? Rag and Bone Man was the other big winner of the night, taking home 2 awards, the Critics' Choice Award and Best British Breakthrough Act, as well as honoring Bowie. The Brits paid tribute to George Michael, who died Christmas Day 2016, who should get into the Rock Hall of Fame. He should get in. If he doesn't, then there's something wrong. Because that dude was, he's on the list of.
Has his name? Oh, he's on. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that dude is he was a hit machine. That's all there was to it.
Yeah.
And the beauty of George Michael, and I've said this before, was the dude could get into some fucked up situations, and he always came out on top because he was humble and he was very good at self-deprecation. He was very good at saying, "Yeah, I was a fucking idiot," and he could laugh at himself. Like, he didn't fight it. He's like, "Yeah, I did it. Yeah," and you own it. And he's a perfect example of people will forget about it. But when you fight it,
yeah.
You know, he made a video about fucking cops, like, I don't know, like fucking because he got caught in a public bathroom in Miami or somewhere. Was it something like that? But he made a video about it. It's like, dude, good for you, man. Good for you. And he never hurt anybody. Like George Michael, people could say, "Oh, fuck George." The dude never hurt anybody.
Right.
You never heard him saying a bad thing about anybody. You never heard him getting like, he just got into. Yeah, but it's his own.
Besides these, other things, but
it's his own fault. Like he get into shit that he falls asleep behind the wheel of his fucking car at a red light. Shit like that. Like, but he never was like in anything like controversial in the sense of like Madonna, who would just create controversy to get fucking publicity.
Right.
George Michael was just a good dude. So what if he was gay? Who cared? If you didn't figure it out with Wham, you didn't figure it out with Wham.
Some serious denial.
So,
that's true.
Exactly. So who cared? Like nobody fucking cared. Like it was never a big deal. Oh, George Michael's gay. Really, dude? You're making this an issue?
Because everybody heard this.
Tender whisper or whatever. Careless whisper.
Yeah. You're like, okay, this is cool.
Dude, I just posted a video of some guy playing. He's with Geezer Butler, and it's a black and white video, and he's playing that on an acoustic guitar. I posted it on Facebook, and it's fucking cool the way he does the tone like inflections on the song. He does it with the tuner.
The tuning knob, Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking cool, man. Cool.
I heard that's Andrew Ridgeley's only contribution to the music of Wham was that riff. And
that's, you know what? The dude's just printing money.
Exactly.
Still printing money from that.
Yeah. If they own their publishing.
Yeah. He had a lot to do behind the scenes with keeping George Michael going. Keeping him in line and keeping him, doing what he could do best, Pee Wee, just like Pee Wee wasn't a pervert. So what if Pee Wee Herman got caught in a fucking porn theater doing this? So what?
He never.
Like, are you really kidding me? Like he'd be celebrated today. They would be celebrating him.
But today that would just seem so light.
Yeah. I'd be like, so what?
Anymore? You've got a home theater now,
Yeah, exactly. Social media would be like, oh, look at Pee Wee Herman. Oh, I love his independent, whatever they would be saying.
Yeah,
like he caught a bad rap, but the best
was he wearing that little gray suit though?
No.
Okay. That's weird.
But he did the MTV Awards. The following, like it was like 8 months later or 9 months later, everything had kind of died down, and the MTV Awards had him come out. And the first thing he said, as Pee Wee in the fucking suit, the first thing he says, he stands there, he looks at the crowd with that stupid face, and he says, "Heard any good jokes lately?" like, dude, fucking home run right there,
right out of the park.
Yeah, in that fucking Pee Wee voice. Heard any good jokes lately?
And he played Danny DeVito's. In the second Batman movie, Batman Returns.
Yeah.
He played the father of the Penguin.
Yeah. Paul Rubens. Yeah. He was also in Cheech and Chong Up in Smoke. He was
New Wave.
He was the hotel. He was the hotel guy. He was the guy at the hotel at the front desk.
Right.
Yeah,
Didn't he accuse Bruce Springsteen of fucking up rock and roll? Didn't he have some line in that? Like,
probably.
he's talking about new wave music. I think it's Bruce Springsteen fucked it up or something.
Let's see. On this day in 2016, Adele won 4 prizes, including Best British Female Solo Artist, Best Album of the Year, Brit Awards. Coldplay won Best British Group, making them the most successful band in the ceremony's history. Oh, Jesus. Wow. The show also featured an emotional tribute to David Bowie, led by Annie Lennox and his friend Gary Oldman. On this day in 2012, American singer-songwriter, guitarist Billy Strange died at age 81. Do you know who he was with?
The Cult.
No.
Wait, no. Oh, no. X. No.
Billy Strange.
Who?
He was a session musician with the famed Wrecking Crew.
Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
Billy Strange.
Yeah.
What the F?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
He appeared on hit songs from Elvis Presley, including A Little Less Conversation, Nancy Sinatra, Frank Sinatra, da-da-da. On this day, you're thinking the Cult is Billy Duffy.
Billy Duffy. Okay.
Yeah. Who actually introduced Morrissey and Johnny Marr, by the way.
Really? Oh, very cool. Huh.
Yeah, Morrissey used to play in a band with Billy Duffy, and Billy Duffy's like, your style, my style. Mm-hmm. They were friends, and he just said, listen, I got somebody that you might want to play with to be a lot better.
Mm-hmm.
And he introduced him to Johnny Marr. He told Johnny Marr, go see this guy. And Marr showed up at Morrissey's house, and they kind of sat down, and there you go. The Smiths were born. Yeah. So with that transition, on this day in 2010, Johnny Marr was said to be ecstatic after getting back one of his guitars, which had been stolen in 2000 after a gig at the Scala nightclub in King's Cross in London. Smiths fan Stephen White told a London court he was disgusted with himself for taking the 30,000 pound, which is like $36,000 cherry red 1964 Gibson SG.
Wow.
When he went backstage after the gig at the Scala. Yeah. I've seen him play that guitar. Not live, but on this day in 2004, speaking of her earlier, Norah Jones started the 6-week run at #1 on the U.S. album chart with Feels Like Home, the singer's second U.S. #1. Let me see. On this day in 2004, the Sex Pistols' Anarchy in the UK was named the most influential record of the 70s. See?
Really?
In a poll compiled by Q Magazine, Queen's Bohemian Rhapsody was voted into second place, and Donna Summer's I Feel Love was third. So look at that. You got punk, rock, and disco, right? All from the 70s.
But was Donna Summer's song, was that influential?
I Feel Love.
I know this song. Sure. I Feel Love.
I guess it was voted into third place. And T-Rex, Get It On, was fourth. That's probably I'm sure it's a British magazine, Q Magazine. On this day in 2002, drummer Ronnie Verrell. You know who he was?
Nope.
Okay, it doesn't matter then. No, died at age 76. He worked with the Ted Heath Orchestra and the Sid Lawrence Orchestra, but provided the drum licks for Animal in the Muppet Show.
Wow, that is cool. I never
An
heard
American. What's that? Go ahead.
What was it? What was his name again?
His name was Ronnie Verrell. Put that in your notebook.
Ronnie Verrell, yeah, man. Animal is a big influence on me.
Well, when American drummer Buddy Rich, one of Verrell's heroes, guested on the show, Verrell, as Animal, had a drumming duel with Rich and won.
Yes.
After Animal smashed the snare drum over Rich's head. There you go. On this day in 2002, 2 middle-aged women spent the first of 8 nights sleeping in a car outside Bournemouth International Center to make sure they were the first in the queue for when tickets to Cliff Richard's forthcoming concert went on sale.
Jesus.
They slept in their car for 8 days.
Wow.
What the fuck?
For Cliff Richard.
The early days of the internet, maybe? 2002?
He was the Cliff Richard and the Shadows.
Yeah.
They're contemporary of the Beatles. He had hits going into the 80s, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
So 8 days in a car.
Yeah, 8 days in a car, buddy. Fuck that. This is kind of a where are they now, but in 2001, winners of the 43rd Grammy Awards included U2 for Record of the Year and Song of the Year with Beautiful Day. That was actually one of the concerts that I saw kick off a U.S. tour in Fort Lauderdale. It was that Beautiful Day tour. Steely Dan won Album of the Year for Two Against Nature. And Macy Gray won Female Pop Vocal for I Try. Like, where did she go? She had a great voice. Very unique voice. But
very unique, yeah.
You never know what goes on behind the scenes, though. She might have been a total asshole, and they were like, you know what? We're done with you. Kind of like a Terrence Trent D'Arby thing.
Yeah.
You know?
He claimed to be the greatest thing, you know.
Yeah, he was going to be better than the Beatles or something.
Yep.
Eminem won Best Rap. Marshall Mathers. Johnny Cash won Best Male Country Performance for Solitary Man. In this day in 2000, the engagement ring Sex Pistols Sid Vicious gave to his girlfriend Nancy Spungen went on sale for auction at $2,550. Sid bought the ring from the Camden Market in 1977. Also sold was a pair of John Lennon's jeans that went for $3,825.
Shit.
On this day in 1997, No Doubt went to number one on UK singles charts with Don't Speak. The third single from the band's second album, Tragic Kingdom, was written by Eric Stefani and his sister Gwen. You know, No Doubt used to be a ska band.
Yeah. Don't Speak is almost reminds me almost of a rewrite of some Fame. Don't speak, I want fame, I want to live forever.
Oh, yeah, Fame, that's right. I never put that together. Interesting.
Ska.
On this day in 1992, UK music paper, the NME, printed their writers' all-time best debut albums. Well, weren't we just talking about this before the show? Right. At number one was Patti Smith, Horses.
Ooh, a good one.
Number two, Joy Division, Unknown Pleasures. Number three, MC5, Kick Out the Jams. That's like the only good song on the fucking album. Well, that's almost like I'm a cool cat pick, right? Number four, the Jesus and Mary Chain. Psycho Candy, and for the third week in a row, at number 5, Television appears on the MilkCrates and Turntables podcast. Marquee Moon. This is third week, 3 weeks in a row that's come up. Yeah.
That record didn't sell for shit.
No. Nope. On this day in 1992, Shakespeare's Sister started an 8-week run at number one on the UK singles chart with Stay. The duo was made up of ex-Bananarama member Siban Fahey, who was married to who? Oh, you probably wouldn't know. Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics.
Really? He married a Spice Girl?
No, she was with Bananarama.
Oh, Bananarama. Okay.
Yeah, I love Bananarama. It's one of my favorite. I have the greatest hits album. It's one of the best. It's my favorite one.
Cruel Summer's a great song.
They got a lot. Venus, their version of Venus, it's fucking great. Yeah.
They're better than the Go-Go's.
Hey, listen, I would, but the Go-Go's play their own instruments, and they just, I don't care. Fucking Bananarama, much better looking.
Oh yeah,
much better looking. Yeah. Let me see. Married today and singer Marcella. Anyways, we'll move on. On this day in 1989, a category. Oh, you'll know this. You'll remember this. A lot of people remember this. A category for heavy metal was included at the Grammy Awards for the first time. Metallica performed on stage, but the award went to who?
Jethro Tull.
Yeah. Oh, boy. That is epic fail.
Oh,
epic fail.
Everyone knew it. And no one said, yeah. Even Jethro Tull fans were like, well, fuck that, because it's insulting. Heavy metal was insulted. I mean, the whole thing was just stupid. What a gimme. Many
audience members booed. Meanwhile, Bobby McFerrin won Record of the Year and Song of the Year for Don't Worry, Be Happy, which he absolutely stopped performing that. He said he'll never do it again. He fucking hates that song, I think. Yeah. Tracy Chapman is named Best New Artist. That's the curse. Mm-hmm. She never did anything after that, really. And Tina Turner won Best Female Rock Vocal Performance for Tina Live in Europe. It was a sad day on this day in 1987. Andy Warhol, pop artist and producer, died after gallbladder operation. I don't have to go into his history. On this day in 1986, I remember this, MTV dedicated a full 22 hours broadcast to the Monkees, showing all 45 episodes of the original TV show, The Monkees. I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that.
A friend of mine auditioned for the new Monkees.
Really?
Didn't get it.
Didn't get it. Probably a good thing. Because nobody remembers the new Monkees.
No.
Nobody. On this day in 1981, one-hit wonder Joe Dolce was at number one in the UK single charts with Shut Up Your Face. Famously keeping the legendary Ultravox song Vienna off the UK slot. Shut Up Your Face was number one in 11 countries. I remember that song. Shut Up Your Face.
Place. I went to a block party in Long Island City, a very Italian neighborhood, and that song they played it over and over again.
Yeah, shut up in your face.
I heard about 1 million. What's the matter, you? Hey,
that's right.
It's a nicer place. Shut up in your face.
There you go. Exactly.
Exercise that for my.
Oh man, that was the year I graduated high school. There you go. I was 17. Yeah, I was young. On this day in 1978, winners at that year's Grammy Awards included who got Album of the Year in 78?
The Cars.
Nope.
No,
that was 79.
The first album was 79.
I think it was 79. Yeah, maybe
78.
78, maybe 79. I think it was
78.
Album of the Year in 78.
Darkness in the Edge of Town. Bruce Springsteen.
No. Fleetwood Mac. Rumors.
78. Oh, I came out in 77. So
78 was the year it got.
Okay.
The Eagles Record of the Year for Hotel California and Best Pop Vocal Performance, the Bee Gees for How Deep Is Your Love. Good year for music.
I'm a fan of the Bee Gees.
Yeah.
I think they were great all throughout the years.
Yep. On this day in 1978, the Police appeared in a Wrigley's chewing gum commercial for US TV. The band dyed their hair blonde for the appearance. And there you have it. They stayed that way for a while. Wow. On this day in 1977, the Eagles released Hotel California. So going backwards, right?
Yeah.
The title track from the Eagles album, the same name, written by Don Felder, who's still making money off that, I believe, right? Even though he wants more money. Don Henley and Glenn Frey. Its long guitar coda was voted the best guitar solo of all time by readers of Guitarist magazine in 1998. It's hard to argue with, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great guitar solo, but that's like a 7-minute song that was a number one, I think.
Yeah, I saw them at the Boston Garden, and that was a great. It was a great back and forth between Joe Walsh and Glenn Frey, right?
That was Don Felder.
Don Felder, I mean, yeah.
You saw that lineup?
I did, yeah.
The classic Eagles lineup.
Yeah, my brother took me. Yeah.
Was that with Timothy B. Schmidt on bass or Randy Meisner?
Yeah, okay. I believe it was with. So it was 77, whoever that lineup was. 77, 78.
It could have been either one because I think Randy Meisner wasn't around not long after that album came out. I think that tour he left. Could have been either one, but still.
Yeah, either way.
Meisner's been in the band forever. He was in there longer than Timothy B. Schmidt anyway.
Yeah. On this day in 1976, Florence Ballard of the Supremes died of cardiac arrest, age 32. Ballard had left the group in 67, lost an $8 million lawsuit against Motown Records, and was living on welfare when she died.
Wow.
Yeah, right. On this day in 1975, Scottish group The Average White Band went to number one on the U.S. singles charts with Pick Up the Pieces.
Yep. Scottish funk.
Yep. The band's album, AWB, also went to number one in the U.S. charts. That was that white album with the black kind of drawing of the girls. The girls, like if you see the outline of her butt, like sitting down.
Really?
But it's her hair. Huh. It's like, yeah, pretty cool album cover. AWB. Let's see. Excuse me. On this day in 1970, appearing at the Roundhouse Spring Festival in Camden, London, David Bowie and the Hype. The first live performance of the new band, along with blah, blah, and blah, blah, blah. David Bowie and the Hype. Yikes.
Hmm.
On this day in 1967, Pink Floyd continued working on the debut album, Piper at the Gates of Dawn, at Abbey Road Studios, London. The Beatles were also working at Abbey Road, recording the giant piano chord at the end of A Day in the Life, the Sgt. Pepper's album. There's a whole story behind that chord.
Yeah. Do you know what chord? Do you know what chord it is?
No.
E major chord.
No. How am I not surprised that you know that?
Ding.
But there's a story behind that though, like how many times they did it, or there was how it was recorded, or something. It was or why it was.
The filming of it was wild. I think I think there's some film footage of the video. Like I think the orchestra guys are wearing funny hats and stuff.
Yeah, yeah. And finally, on this day in 1962,
I think the story is that chord's supposed to ring out forever or something, or there's some dog reference there somewhere. But
yeah, I'm gonna have to look that up. I know there's a story behind it. I've heard it before. Let me see. On this day in 1962, finally, Elvis Presley was at #1 in the UK's single chart with Rockahula Baby, Can't Help Falling in Love. The tracks were from his latest film, Blue Hawaii, and became the singer's 10th UK #1. He didn't have many #1s in the US, though, right?
Right. Early on,
what's that?
Early on, the Hound Dog. I don't know what. The charts were strange in the 50s, you know.
Yeah, he had a hit in wasn't it a Christian song? One of his
he did gospel albums. He did gospel albums after the army, yeah.
Yeah. On this day, born on this day in 1974, James Blunt, former Army captain, had the 2005 UK single "You're Beautiful." You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
I saw you there.
He became the first British artist. Hey, listen, he was an Army captain. Good for him. His first British artist to top the American singles charts in nearly a decade. You're beautiful. Reached #1 in 2006. The last British artist to do so was Elton John in 1997 with Candle in the Wind. Born on this day in 1973, Scott Phillips, drummer and co-founder of American rock band Creed. So what? Born on this day in 1962, Michael Wilton with American progressive heavy metal band Queensryche. Wow. Born on this day in 1950, Genesis P. Orridge. You know what that is? P. Orridge?
Genesis P. Orridge. Nope.
English singer-songwriter, musician, poet, and performance artist. Genesis P. Orridge, a founding member of the cult experimental band Throbbing Gristles and Psychic TV. Kind of weird. It's very like it's Psychic TV is very arts. It's like the crowd just stands there and they make it. It's just all these weird noises they make and offbeat stuff, and then like the singing, and it's just not really. It's art. It's performance art more than music, I think. Yeah. And finally, born on this day in 1938, Bobby Hendricks, singer-songwriter. Well, the singer. They didn't really like the songs back then. Singer Bobby Hendricks from The Drifters.
Oh.
Yep. Who had the #1 and #2 UK single, Save the Last Dance for Me. And my friend, that's it. That's the show.
Good show.
2 hours, 15 minutes, as usual.
Yeah.
Jack would never have made it. He would not have made it.
Half hour ago. What's his limit? Hour and a half? 90 minutes?
Yeah. I'm lucky if I get an hour and 20 out of him. You know. But either way, buddy, great show as usual. I always want to thank you for your input, your knowledge, your contribution, and that notebook, buddy. You didn't reference it that much tonight. You were kind of off the cuff tonight.
We went off the cuff. You didn't send an agenda. I didn't ask. I figured just whatever's on your mind. I'll see what I can jump on here.
See, I like this. Right, this format's a little it's a little looser. It can go in a lot of directions.
Sure, and given that for me to prepare, I sometimes the day before, not that I don't mind, call, but sometimes I can do something, but anything I can.
But something like this, I knew we were going to do a list. It's just about the back and forth, and the knowledge always pours out either way. You know what I mean? And once again, you came on strong in the end with the trivia. Yeah,
I'm a closer.
You're the utility man, buddy. You're the utility man.
Get warmed up.
Like Mark Flynn says, loosely goosey. Isn't it loosey goosey?
I think it's loosely goosely.
Loosely.
We know what you meant, Mark.
Yeah. You should spell that COVID-19. What? What?
Well, Mark's still taking his class, I guess. It's 10 o'clock.
Mark Smith, yeah, he's probably still taking his class. Coffee is for closers. There you go.
There we go.
Well, again, Lou, thank you very much. I always appreciate your time and your effort and your input. You'll be back next week. We'll finish this list. For everybody out there that's listening, thank you for listening. If you like it, share it. Tell a friend about it. If you don't like it, well, thanks for listening this long. And I always say you guys are the engine that runs this machine. Without you, it would just be me and Lou talking about music. And that's not a bad thing either. Not a bad thing. We just include you guys in it. And doing this podcast for you, to quote my favorite artist, Morrissey, the pleasure, the privilege is mine. We'll be back next week. Hopefully Jack's here. And if he isn't, it'll still be Lou and maybe Mark Smith if he doesn't have another class. So Lou, don't fill your calendar. You're on next week. We're gonna finish this list, buddy.
Cool. Look forward to it.
And you know what I'll do? I'll actually send you the link, and if you want to kind of pick up on some things on it, that'll be fine. I'll send it to you before next week.
I'll give more of the day.
All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. Say goodnight, Lou.
Good night, Lou.